Alrighty, so we're going to be talking about ethics, and that's what's in this little presentation here. And here's one of my favorite stories about ethics that I have that hopefully maybe you can learn from, and maybe it can offer you some insight and ideas as well. If you've taken any of my safe opening classes, my home safe opening class, gun safe opening, antique safe opening, or TL rated high security safe opening class, I tell this story in there, and I thought it would play out well here. And the way it starts out is when you're a locksmith, the bottom base ethics is making sure that you're opening the correct container, or opening the correct home, or opening the correct vehicle. Basically, working on anybody's security device, you should definitely be verifying who you're working for and whose stuff you're working on. And sometimes those aren't the same thing. It comes up a lot in death in families. You'll have family members that are arguing and squabbling over assets and trying to gain access to homes, closets, rooms, vehicles, and safes. So you really need to identify and make sure, I always make sure that we have power of attorney in those situations. So that's one particular situation, but this particular situation was even a little more odd and just a little bit more weird. I get a call and the phone rings, and they're saying, hey, we have this safe to open up. Do you open safes? Seems normal so far? Yeah, absolutely. Of course we do. That's what we advertise. That would be great. Okay. Well, here's the deal. We have this safe, and it was like I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was a century or just something, something not crazy to open, something like a regular, home safe. And so they tell me I'm asking questions, because this is the most important part of your job as a security professional, is to ask the right questions. So I'm asking questions. Hey, tell me a little bit about it. What's in the container? And they tell me $100,000 in cash and our passports. And I'm like, okay, that's why you would put that much cash in that kind of safe is a little strange to me. But hey, the public doesn't know what we know. And it is what it is. So then I ask, okay, well, where are you located at? And they proceed to tell me that they have the safe in their car, and they're driving around trying to find someone to open it. And they've called several other people, and they either can't do it, or they can't do it right away, or they won't do it, etc. So all of a sudden, these red flags just kind of start going off. Just red flag, red flag, red flag. And I'm like, okay. I'm going to repeat this back to you, and you tell me if this sounds a little bit sketchy, and maybe why my spidey senses are starting to tingle a little bit, and we may have a problem here. So what we did was, I said, you're driving around with a safe with $100,000 in cash, and you're just calling random locksmiths to open this, and you want to come to them and just have them open this. Can you see how that sounds like a problem? Like, hey, it sounds like this is either stolen, or, maybe you've taken it from somebody else, or there's just something off and sketchy about that. Why isn't it in your house? And they're like, well, we have to have it today. We have to have this done today. So, urgency is another red flag. Driving around with the safe and that much cash in there is another red flag. And here's why there's two big red flags for me. One is, it might not be theirs, right? They stole it and they're driving around. They're looking for somebody to open it. The second part is the other aspect of it, where my safety might be in danger, right? If there's that much cash in there and they're telling me their passports are in there, like, that's a good thing, because that's a thing that I can use to help identify them and make sure that they're verified and telling me the truth. But it also could mean that I could open this and all of a sudden they might attack me, pull out a firearm. Anything can happen. You need to think as a security professional, like when I'm opening a bank vault or an ATM or a high security safe, I'm always on alert. My head is on a swivel, right? My safety comes first, and then my customer safety comes second, and then my ethics are going to come in too. So I'm trying to put all this together, and I'm like, okay, They actually agreed. They're like, yes, we know it sounds sketchy. We know it's a little weird. We just have to get this open. We've got an appointment this afternoon and we have to have access to this money. So I'm like, okay, all right, what am I going to do here? So I told them, look, I'm going to think about this and I'm going to call you right back. They're like, please do anything we can do to help you do this. And I'm like, okay, I will call you back. I will guarantee that I call you back. No problem. So I think for a minute and I'm like, how can I verify this or how can I do this in a way that's both professional, ethical, and taking their respect into it too, because they might actually have an emergency where they need this cash. So I'm like, okay, I put this plan together. I'm like, look, if anybody's doing anything illegal, the last thing they want to do is involve law enforcement. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to meet you at the local police department and we're going to have an officer stand by. And I actually called the police department and I was like, I got a sketchy call here. If I requested an officer stand by while we open this for two reasons, one, to verify ownership of the person that's bringing it to me, and two, for my safety in general, they're like, yeah, no problem. It's kind of a weird situation, but we have somebody on standby. Come on down and we'll check it out. So I'm like, okay. So I call him back and I'm like, hey, all right, I've contacted the local police department. I will meet you down there and I will open the safe for you, and an officer will be standing by documenting the entire process, the entire time, every step of the way. And if you have a problem with that, no questions asked, this conversation is over. If you want to meet me down there, I'll do it. And they said, great, thank you, no problem. So now I'm starting to breathe a little bit better. The red flags are starting to kind of go down. And I'm feeling a lot better about the situation, because if there was anything illegal going on, that would instantly turn them off. They wouldn't want to be involved with law enforcement. So I'm like, okay, all right. So we get down there and sure enough, we have an officer stand by. I open the container up and lo and behold, there it is, $100,000 in cash in the safe, and both of their passports with matching IDs. So this was a perfectly legitimate situation. We opened this correct container. We opened the correct safe for the correct person. And the big kicker, the reason that was so urgent for them, is they were closing on their house and they had both been waiting tables and been taking the cash home, and that's how they were making their deposit on their first home. They had this money stashed away. It was their life savings, and they needed to get to a portion of that so that they could literally go put the deposit on their home, or they were going to lose it. You know how crazy the housing market has been. So you can understand that if they didn't get there that day and get that open and get that cash down to the escrow or whatever they had to go do, they would have lost their home. And that's why it was so urgent. So here's an example of me being willing to be flexible, thinking outside the box, and allowing them to go ahead and give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt while making sure my safety, integrity, and ethics are all accounted for, along with my professionalism. So I hope that helps you think about a situation that you might have in the future if that comes down to it. These days with Airbnb locations, you've got people who are not renting the house. You can ask for the contract with that. If there's ever a situation where I don't have where there's not the owner of the vehicle or the owner of the home or the owner of the safe, I will ask for the owner's contact information. And very oftentimes they might be out of state, out of country, but I will still send that text message. I will still notify them. I will still send an email, and I will still let them know, hey, I am notifying you. These people are requesting access to your property. Do I have permission to do that? And I'm not going to move forward until I get that permission back from the owner. So hopefully that helps you out. That's just a couple personal stories from me, family, death in the family, red flag story, and just making sure that you do your due diligence and take care of all of the ethics that you may have. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your seminar. I don't know who's instructing this class for you, but I hope it works out really well, and you're being taught by some of the most top-level people in the industry. ALOA ACE certified instructors are the apex of education in this industry. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. Enjoy the story, and take care. Thank you.